Hi, greetings from our Aspida Hispanic recruitment team in Olivet Nazarene University's Office of Admissions. In this video, you'll learn about some of the most important information about financial aid offer letters, and FAFSA for Olivet. Let's get started. First, please know that Olivet cannot send you a financial aid offer letter if you have not yet been admitted. Now, let's start with financial aid in general. At Olivet, we start you off with an academic scholarship. This is determined by your GPA in high school. If you took an ACT or SAT, you can turn that test score in if it bumps up the amount of your academic scholarship, but you are not required to do so. My suggestion is to text or call the Aspida Hispanic recruitment team or your admissions counselor here at ONU and see if it's worth turning in your ACT or SAT result. Next, if you're eligible for other ONU scholarships, that amount will stack on top of your academic scholarship. These scholarships could be for varsity sports, ROTC, music, visiting campus your senior year of high school, or even a need-based scholarship. On top of that, you may be eligible for financial assistance through federal or state funds. And of course, you can use outside or private scholarships here at ONU. In fact, we don't place a limit on how many. So if you have enough outside scholarships to help you with room and board, you are welcome to do so. That is a very brief overview of how financial aid works at ONU. But please know we'll assign you a financial aid counselor in the Office of Admissions to help you with all of your financial aid questions throughout your admissions and enrollment process. Moving on, let's talk about FAFSA. If you are eligible for the FAFSA, please complete it, or in some cases, let us know you do not plan on filing it. If you are not eligible for the FAFSA but you live in Illinois, consider the alternative application. Depending on where you live, you may be required to complete one of these to graduate from high school, so check in with your school on that. If you need help completing your FAFSA, your school may have workshops, or you can complete it here at our Office of Admissions if you want someone to guide you. Your FAFSA will require family income information, so have these documents and your Social Security card ready, and make sure the information on your FAFSA matches these documents. There's a portion of the FAFSA that asks about schools to send your information to. Please make sure you add us on there. You can either type in our full name, Olivet Nazarene University, or use our FAFSA code 001741. Note, there is an Olivet College in Michigan and an Olivet University in California. We are not associated with either one of these, so please make sure your FAFSA goes to the correct Olivet. Now, for any student who is eligible for the FAFSA but whose parents are undocumented, please know that you can still file your FAFSA. Your parents' information through FAFSA is not shared with other government agencies, with the exception of perhaps verifying information through the IRS for tax purposes. A couple important things to note. Use all zeros for your parents' Social Security number if they do not have one. Please do not use their ITIN or individual taxpayer identification number. And second, if your parents do not have a Social Security number, they will have to print the parent signature page and sign the physical sheet. You will go through your FAFSA like anyone else. Agree to terms and conditions, re-enter your FSA ID if it prompts you to, and if so, click Sign this FAFSA form. On the next page, click Provide Parent Signature. Then select Provide Parent Signature for whoever you decide will sign the page. Agree to the terms, select Continue, and when you get to this page, since a parent without a Social Security number doesn't have an FSA ID, you'll click on Other Options to sign and submit. Then click on Print Signature Page, which will give you some instructions and a print link at the bottom, which you'll select. They'll also give you the physical address that you will mail your signed signature page to, so make a note of that. Finally, click Finish and Submit My FAFSA form now, since you do not have to wait to send that signature page for you to submit your FAFSA. Remember, the specific steps listed in this portion of the video are for students who do qualify for FAFSA, but whose parents do not have a Social Security number. But let's say you already did your FAFSA and you submitted it, but Olivet was not on your list of schools. That's okay. Go ahead and log back into your FAFSA as a returning user with your FSA ID, and we're going to use this video as a reference. Yes, this is a handy video I found on TikTok, so shout out to @FAFSA Help. So you'll see here, navigate to School section, scroll down, and click Enter this section and continue. Scroll to the bottom and add more schools. This is where you can enter our FAFSA code of 001741. She uses Harvard here as an example. Click the box and continue, and you should see us added on there. Click Continue, and it'll show you your school list. Checkmark the box and make sure you sign and submit the FAFSA form at the end. Even though you had already submitted it, you do have to resubmit for the change to go through. Once you have your FAFSA done and turned in, we'll take a look at it and start putting together your financial aid offer letter, which could look something like this. Do not panic about these numbers. This is an example for an imaginary person. So John Apple here doesn't qualify for FAFSA aid that maybe you would. Remember, we can only send you this if you're admitted and send us your FAFSA or alternative application. Once you receive your financial aid offer letter, we will send you a detailed video that shows you how to read your financial aid offer step by step. Plus, your financial aid counselor at Olivet will set up a time with you to go over every part of your letter on the phone, by Zoom, or in person, just in case anything on the offer letter is still confusing. And of course, our Aspida Hispanic recruitment team can interpret into Spanish if someone in your family needs it, or send you a Spanish video. Once you feel ready, you can sign it, date it, and either mail it back to us or scan it and email it to us. And just a heads up, if you are selected by FAFSA for what's called verification, do not panic. This often happens for low-income families, as FAFSA wants to make sure to verify your information so that you're given the correct amount of aid. It doesn't mean you made a mistake on the FAFSA, and even if there was a mistake, remember, we are here to help you make any necessary corrections. And of course, we will help you gather the information you need. You won't have to figure it out alone. And speaking of corrections, again, remember that if there is a mistake on your FAFSA, it can be corrected. However, we do want to point out some common errors so that you can double check these, preferably before you submit your FAFSA if possible, or we can correct them if these mistakes were made. 1. We often see a duplicate parent income. On the FAFSA, there is a section that asks about parent income and one that asks about student income. If you have no student income because you don't have a job, just mark 0. Do not input your parent's income again. Or if you do work, put how much you make if you have a job, but not your parents' info again. 2, we often see students select the wrong FAFSA year, so make sure you are selecting the school year during which you would be a freshman in college, as that's the year you would need financial aid for. 3, another thing to look out for is your student social security number and name. Always double check that because every digit and name need to match with what's on your social security card. And lastly, we often see missing parent signatures. If your FAFSA is missing a parent signature because you need to mail in the signature page, that's okay. We know that takes time. But otherwise, make sure you get that parent signature if you are a dependent student. And that's about it for this summary. I know, that was a lot of information for a summary, huh? But that's why we're here, to help you understand the details and figure out how an Olivet education can be financially doable for you and your family. So reach out to us with any questions, and let's talk financial aid at ONU.